or for a long period of time. And so all you have is that World Cup. And so the memory doesn't stick around as long. Bloody Bogger says, how would you compare and contrast Pat Cummins with Glenn McGrath? You don't say here whether this is test or ODI. So let's just start with test. They have very, very similar figures in test cricket, especially against the top order of the data that we have for Glenn McGrath, which is the second half of his career. One big difference for me is that Cummins has only ever bowled in a bowler-dominant era. McGrath bowled half of his career in a bowler-dominant era, and then the second half of his career in a batting-dominant era, and still was unplayable. And it's a bit when you're comparing Dale Steyn to other bowlers, right? Dale Steyn basically only bowled when batters were on top, and yet was still Dale Steyn. And you have to factor that in. And Cummins has had a completely different kind of ride. I think it's fair to say. And so from that perspective, it would be very, very hard to say that it's very hard to compare them. And they have similar numbers, so you have to give McGrath the edge. McGrath played more matches, will probably take more wickets and have a longer career. Obviously, part of that is Cummins' injury. But that's also, remember that McGrath came into the team, wasn't quite fully formed, had to play and work his way through and become the cricketer he was. Whereas Cummins actually, his body and his mind to mature while he was injured and then came back. So there are some differences. If you're talking about overall GOAT pace Australian bowlers, and you're including the white ball, then McGrath is by far and away better than Cummins at the moment. McGrath was undisputedly in his era the greatest white ball bowler. The only other thing I would add is that McGrath did all of his with the new ball, and Pat Cummins has done a lot of his work with the first change ball. And if Pat Cummins ever does become a permanent first change bowler again, he could arguably be the best first change bowler since Joel Garner, and that that is huge, right? To have a first change bowler of the level of Cummins and Garner and still be able to have a bowling average of 20, 21, 22, those sorts of numbers is absolutely ridiculous. So from that's the one thing I would sort of pull back into Cummins' favour, but I think McGrath's better than him. I think Cummins would have to have an incredible back half of his career, and I don't think he will. Not that I think he'll have a bad one, but I don't think he'll have the back half of his career where he's going to average under 22 for another 6 years or something like that.